Hi, everyone. We are now hanging out on the West Coast. We are here in British Columbia talking to a handful of designers and business owners who operate just outside of Vancouver itself within BC. I'm going to ask each of them to introduce themselves. Laura, I'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura. I'm a graphic designer living and working on Vancouver Island in the Comox Valley. I've been a graphic designer for 23 years, and I've had my own business for the last 13 years. It's called Caribou Creative. I work with small independent businesses that have some sort of vested interest in sustainability or looking for a greener solution for their brands. A lot of the work I do is things like logos, packaging, websites, that sort of thing. So, yeah.
Awesome. Welcome. Maria, Shan, how about you?
So we are Tardigrada Design Studio. He's Shan and he's an interior designer. And I'm Maria, the graphic designer. We started in 2021 and we are located in the beautiful Burnaby Mountain. Yeah. We specialize in branding and we do branding systems. So we go from all the tangible things that you can see from a brand, from a logo to a digital platform, conceptualization, and everything in between, all the contact that a client and the audience can have with the brand, essentially. Yeah.
Awesome. And then Ross, want to tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Ross. I'm the founder and creative director at Becoming Design Office here in Victoria, BC. We opened an office and actually started the company about 3 years ago down here on 4th Street. And we specialize in brand design. We also do brand communications, and recently we've been doing a lot of packaging and interior work. So yeah, pretty broad range. We have a small team of designers and project managers here, and we all try and work from the studio as much as possible.
Nice. How big is your team, Ross?
Pardon me?
How big is your team?
Our team is currently 4 people. I share the studio with 3 other companies. So even though there's just 4 in our studio, usually there's about 16 to 18 people in the office. We have an architecture firm, we have an interior design studio, and we have a 3D product design company that all share the space with us.
Cool. So it's like its own little hub of creativity.
Yes, totally.
Okay, let's start by talking a little bit about the design community in the areas that you're in. So maybe tell us a little bit about the ways in which your design community gathers, connects to each other, supports each other. Anyone can start, but give it some thought. Yeah.
All right, I'll start. So first things first, we would like to say that we both are immigrants who entered in Vancouver just 4 years ago, and there's like a lot. RGD has provided some great design thinkers group, and that was our first introduction to getting closer with the community, and that's kind of inspired us. We met some really great speakers and people in and around that who have inspired us and helped shape our business as well. As immigrants who we are new, and networking has been a very key important aspect for us, and the design community is quite supportive and vibrant, I would say. The sheer amount of work, creative work, all the local business owners here do is quite inspiring, and we are very happy to be a part of this. I want to say BC, or I don't want to like make it as a regional territory game, but we really love all the teams which are here in BC.
Yeah, it's a very diverse and a very energetic atmosphere. There's always people coming from outside, new graduates coming out as well. There's great universities around. So I think that enriches the whole environment and design community.
Yeah, I mean, that's so wonderful to hear that the community's been so welcoming to
Yeah.
you and to your business. I mean, I choose to believe that this is one of the best industry communities there is, but it's nice to hear it from other perspectives too.
I have to
Laura
kind of,
Roth?
yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna have to kind of echo, not to, overly promote RGD. I know we're on an RGD forum right now, but you guys do a great job of setting the foundation and definitely bringing people together through the Design Thinkers events and all the online communities and stuff. That when I think about the amount that I interact with my local design community, I probably interact with the national design community more through RGD. So thanks for that. But I guess while I have the floor, maybe I'll just talk a little bit about the Victoria design community.
Yeah.
I think that the design community is definitely here, and everybody kind of knows everybody. But as far as getting together, there are very few events. There's the odd one, sort of unscheduled get together, and it's always great, and there's always opportunities for chit chat and collaboration and stuff. But I think one of the benefits of at least being in the city of Victoria is that there's this small business community that maybe even has like a stronger bond. And that is the thing that really sort of unites all of us, whether it's through creative community or just through the business community. And that's obviously a good community to have as well, because it creates business and networking and referrals, which is the lifeblood of any small creative studio.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've heard echoed from some of the other regions we've talked to too, right? Joining your Chamber of Commerce can be important, finding business mentors who may or may not be creatives. That's really important information and wisdom to gather, whether or not you have a creative community around you.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, so for me, I've been in the Valley for 8 years now. And when I moved here, I really knew nothing about the graphic design community or how I was going to fit into that space.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised. I was welcomed with open arms. We have a small but mighty community of designers here. And so much has changed since COVID as well. There's so many people moving to this community. I mean, it's almost doubled in size in the short time that I've been here. So it's really an eclectic mix of people. There's this really interesting kind of tech hub that's happened here too that I had no idea existed, like mobile apps and interface and all that kind of stuff happening in a small town. I was really surprised about. But yeah, I find everyone's super supportive. We kind of piggyback off each other in a lot of ways, or we pass work around if one is busy or one has some free time, that sort of thing. I also taught at the college for 3 years. So I've done as much as I could to help support any graduates that want to stay in the community and have work come their way as well, and what it's like to be a freelance designer and that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's been really great to be here for sure. Yeah.
Amazing. I'm going to take a minute just to plug Design Thinkers because it's come up twice now, but it's coming in May, the 30th and 31st. Design Thinkers is back in Vancouver, and registration for that is open. Hillary would be upset if I didn't do that, so doing it. Missed opportunity. Okay, I'm curious about, so in some of the sort of, it's been really fascinating to me in speaking with other folks from other regions, but the sort of breakdown of work you're doing in your region versus work you're doing elsewhere, sort of where your clients are based. And I'm super curious, Laura, how does your sort of client list break down or your workload break down? What percentage is regional and in your community, and what percent is elsewhere?
Yeah, so I mean, my focus since I started my business has always been to work with small independent businesses that have a vested interest in sustainability. And I'm super fortunate to live on Vancouver Island, where it's almost every business has that at the forefront. So it's really my jam and I get excited about it. I would say probably 80% of my clients is in and around Vancouver Island. But then, thanks to the internet, I have clients in the States, I have clients in Germany, in Panama, like they just come from wherever. I'm guessing a lot of them find me through social media. But as far as any clients that I have locally, it's all kind of just based on referral, I suppose. But yeah, it's about that.
Yeah, word of mouth makes a much bigger difference in a smaller community, I think.
For sure. And it gets you that quality, those quality clients as well, right?
Yeah. Maria, Shan, what about you? What amount of work is here sort of in BC and what amount of work is elsewhere?
So I think because of our journey, we still have like a lot of clients from outside, but to our happiness, while looking at the numbers on the charts in social media and how our audience is growing, we have seen like a growth in Canadian people looking at us, and we have more local clients recently, which is amazing. That's what we're actually working on.
Yeah.
Over the past 2.5 years, like the numbers has changed quite a bit. Like we come from, I come from India, and I bring in some certain clients who trusted my work previously, and they still now invested in Tadikra Design Studio. And same goes with Maria. She's from Colombia, and we bring in Colombian clients as well. So our past certainly is helping us bring the new clients as well. But with our work being like anchored over here, we see a lot more local passion clients who want to work with us. So that's we're seeing a lot of change in those numbers.
We have a lot of health campaigns going on here in Canada, and we have gardening and lifestyle products in here as well from local interior designers, which is awesome. We absolutely love those clients.
That's awesome. And then Ross, what about you? How does the work sort of break down for beginning?
Yeah, well, so you may or may not know that Victoria is the capital city of British Columbia. So there are a lot of government type agencies, Crown Corps, and then obviously also tourism is a massive industry here. And even though I've mentioned those industries, I can tell you they're also very difficult industries to break into. So up until recently, we've actually been working with small businesses and institutions. So historically, even as an independent, I did a lot of work with universities, Simon Fraser University, UBC, people like that. And we continue to work with those clients, but yeah, over the last couple of years, we have made an effort to diversify our client base, mostly out of fear of existence, just because it's crazy times, and you gotta.
The pandemic really lit a fire under anyone who didn't feel like their book was diverse enough. Yeah,
even the creatives had to get creative. So so we're actually working currently with 3 Crown Corps and BC Parks a little bit more these days, which has been really fun. But working, we like to kind of have a bit of a diverse mix of clients, just because we like to have fun and do cool design, and institutional work isn't always the most expressive and creative. We also are working with product packaging companies in like both the beer and de-alcoholized beverage industry, which is always fun. The 2 designers, not including myself, that we have on the team are both fine artists as well as applied designers. So they've had the opportunity to do like original paintings for beer labels and mix packs and all that kind of stuff. So we try and keep it diverse.
Yeah, and then how much of that work is actually based on the island?
Oh yeah, right. So our clients are mostly in British Columbia, but maybe evenly split between the island and the rest of British Columbia, and a few other clients across Canada, Alberta, and other provinces.
Nice. I mean, your note about Victoria being the capital of BC is sort of similar to what happens in Ontario. Our capital is not Toronto. It is, in fact, Ottawa. And the same thing happens, right? Most of our sort of crown corporations and government offices are based there. And so Ottawa has that kind of work.
Yeah, Victoria is very similar in size to Ottawa, actually, I believe. Yeah. Don't quote me on the demographic numbers, but just the feeling of it is similar.
Yeah. No, that's interesting to think about. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in your realms of business right now. So maybe things that you might be investing in or problems you might be trying to solve that could be based on the region that you're in. Like it might have something to do with the market that you're situated in. Could be investments of time, could be investments of energy, money, tools, skills that you're trying to grow. What comes to mind?
I mean, I can jump in. I don't know if this is a common problem for the rest of the people on the call, but as an independent and then also as, you know, an owner of a small studio, I've been notoriously bad. We've been notoriously bad at sharing projects that we do. You know, because you get busy. And so as our team has been growing recently, we've been doing a better job of getting those projects up on the website and promoting them over social media. And I guess it makes sense, but we've been getting a lot more inbound business just through our website. And it always feels like it's supposed to be a bit more complicated than that, but it seems to be working for us, especially over the last 6 months. So that's something that we've been investing in.
Archiving your work is such a fascinating thing to think about. It's one of the things that in a series of talks similar to this that RGD asked me to do, where we sort of talked about the Canadian design identity. One of the big sort of challenges or things we could do to improve the strength of that somebody noted was just archiving our work. Like there is no archive of Canadian design history for us to go back and look at and see. And I think, you know, if we look south of the border, sometimes Americans are better at promoting that work, documenting that work, screaming it from the rooftops than we are. Yeah,
For sure.
It's interesting to think about. Yeah. Shay, Maria, what are you sort of investing energy in right now?
You want to start?
Sure. So we're still like a 2-year-old firm, as mentioned. So we are still constantly working on tweaking our management roles, management skills, how to manage our projects better, how to manage our time better, how to manage our money better, and everything. These are all like very critical for the longevity of our studio. And that is in the management side of business. And in terms of tech, we have a lot of friends who are in the creative industry, and they always influence our decision in terms of what new tech comes out. And immediately, like few months back, we decided to our next investment, and we allocated budget in our in our studio for this year to invest in an Oculus Rift and start implementing or experimenting in augmented reality and combine that with what the potential of AI could bring. So we really want to be on the forefront of it. We are still I'm an interior designer, so I think in 3D, and I believe that 3D kind of gives the 3-dimensional thinking gives a much better understanding of what a product and the potential of it, and investing in the Oculus Rift is going to be a huge deal for us.
So that's a great point that he mentions that, because that's another part that we're trying to grow, the interior design part of the business. Right now, Tardigrada is specialized in branding, and that's all. But eventually, we want to bring the interior design and grow it. And for that, we need not only licensing, but we need softwares and all of these tools that we need to invest. So definitely softwares, computers, and everything that comes to it with it.
Like recently, a couple of days back, I was having this interesting conversation with Maria, saying now that we started the design studio together, and I feel like learning about graphic design and typography has made me a stronger interior designer as well, because I'm able to focus on the smallest details onto the biggest one. And I kind of felt the same when I transitioned from architecture to interior design. I felt like learning interior design made me a better architect, and it kind of has a similar complementary story when I learn about graphic design and typography.
Yeah, that's so interesting. Laura, what about you? What are you investing time and energy into right now?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my biggest fear as a designer, I think, is staying relevant. So having graduated from college 23 years ago, that I've been in this business, what I learned then to what I know now is completely different. So I'm constantly trying to invest in, keeping my skill set up to par, taking tutorials, listening to other designers speak, doing research in that regard, that sort of thing. To me, that's super important to me to just kind of keep up on the trends and that sort of thing and what's happening in the industry. So yeah, if I'm ever stumped with a problem, it's usually just, going back to those resources to kind of solve those problems. But then on the client side of things, I mean, a lot of things that they're kind of struggling with is, when COVID happened, it was like, how, are they going to pivot their business and change things around? And me telling them 10 years ago that they need to have a website, and then, COVID hits, it's like, oh my God, now I really need a website. It's, basically just me trying to be attentive to their wants and needs and anticipate that before, something like COVID happens.
And you're designing 14 websites in 1 month.
Exactly. So yeah.
Yeah, wild. We are like almost out of time. This time flies. But I want to make sure that we offer up some sort of advice and share some wisdom for folks that might be interested in following similar paths to you. So maybe they're looking to leave a city center and set up shop somewhere much more green and lush. I feel like you're all in much greener and lusher places than me in Toronto. What kind of advice or wisdom or things you maybe wish you did differently would you have to offer up?
Well, I'll start. I have lots of advice.
Okay, good.
Lay it on us, Laura.
One of the first things that I wish I would have done when I started my business was get an accountant. Right out of the gate, I wanted to not only learn all aspects of the business I was running, but I also didn't have a lot of money to do anything. So I just kind of forced myself to play all those roles. And, come tax time, it was just an absolute nightmare. And I realized how important it is to, stay in your lane and outsource when you need to. And definitely getting an accountant was super beneficial for me. But for anyone that's starting out in this profession, and I can only really speak to, me as a freelance graphic designer, but I do get a lot of people inquiring about that. They're saying, I have this great design job, but I, want to branch out and start my own thing. How do I go about doing that? And the first thing I can say is I think that a lot of graphic designers feel like they have stability in their 9-to-5 job, even though they might not feel like it's their passion and they're super excited about it. But for myself, I've never felt more stability than being my own boss and being in charge of my future. So when you can kind of take that out of the picture and realize that you can be in control of your future, then I think you should just hit the ground running. Don't try to do your 9-to-5 job and then spend, 20% of your time freelancing at night. You're just going to get burnt out. So it's like, if you really want, that career to start your own thing, you should just really hit the ground running and go for it. Because yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah, I think that's great advice.
Thank you.
I would like to add that keep in mind that you're still in a people's business, a business which is surrounded by people, which is for people. So build your good relationships, show up, go to events. So build good relationships essentially, and also enjoy the struggle, but also focus on your well-being, because there needs to be a balance. And I'm that kind of a stubborn kind of designer, but I had to learn, how to balance that out. Yeah.
I would like to add like one other thing, like since we are a new industry, I would like to say like keep always look for resources from reputable sources. They are offered, like whether it's online or through your thing, they exist to make our lives better because it's already done based on someone's years and years of research, and it's kind of helping us to take that leap and help ourselves launch ourselves from a better platform, I would say.
Interesting. Yeah. Ross, what about you? What kind of wisdom do you have to share with us?
Yeah, a great wisdom shared so far. I definitely agree with what everybody has already mentioned. I guess maybe to try and add something to that, I would just say that, you know, if you feel like, you know, you need to get out of, you know, a big city, or you want to explore different regions, just go for it, because everywhere you go, at least my experience has been that there is some community that exists there. There are businesses, there are industries that are happening, and they need your services. And so, yeah, I definitely echo Laura's comment, you know, about just you know, being confident and going forward, and you know, trust in the stability of you know, being in charge of your own destiny. You know, it took me being laid off from a studio job to go out on my own, and it was the best decision that I ever made, because you know, it gave me just that. It gave me the stability. You know, I could make my own hours. Made way more money as an independent, by the way, than opening a design studio for the birds. Yeah, but yeah, no, just go for it. Yeah, small communities all have everything big communities have, and also you know, with as Laura again says, as the, you know, with the miracle of the internet, you can have, or everyone on the call, actually, you can have clients all over the world. So
Yeah, and you can tap into your community, right? We are going cross Canada in one day. Kind of bananas.
Yeah, I've always told, or sorry.
No, go ahead, Laura.
I was just going to say, I've always told my students when they're trying to figure out, you know, how they're going to start their own business or get exposure. I said, you know, it's hard for people to find you if they don't know you exist. So just being out there on social media plays a huge role. And like you said, you know, connecting with your community just builds so much growth. So really, you could be living in a cave somewhere and still have that, you know, connection, much thanks to the internet. And yeah, it's a wonderful thing, because then we can be remote like this and still get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, I think one of the most magical things about this community across the country, and you know, as international as I have been exposed to, is just how open and willing and generous designers tend to be with their time and experience, like the four of you. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for bringing us into your space, for sharing your own experiences and knowledge with us. I really appreciate it.
No,
Thank
honored to
you.
be part of this, Nicola. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Nicole.
you.
thanks, everyone.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye, folks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.